I think the one thing that sets cars aside from other type of collectibles is the fact that many people can relate to them to a time period in their lives. I've been doing buying and selling for 32 years. A lot of times when it comes to collecting, people like to collect things that remind them of their childhood. It's something they relate to. So a lot of times people are trying to replicate those feelings and times that they had as a child. There are a lot of other factors that do come into play when it comes to the value of a car. It comes down to rarity, originality, and then just plain desirability. All those little extras, the little add-ons, the accessories, those are the things that really can increase the value of a car. Meaning a 1967 Mustang that's in all original condition with maybe 50 or 60,000 miles is probably worth $30,000 to $40,000. But if you have that 67 Mustang that has air conditioning in it, which was an extra add-on back in the 60s, you know, 1 out of 20 Mustangs had air conditioning in it. Most people didn't get it. It only cost an extra, well, it was $500 or $600 back then, which was a lot of money, but that will add $20,000 to $30,000 in value of that car because it's much more scarce. You know, it is somewhat accepted in the car world that things be restored and refurbished because it needs to be done. And people like to have a good looking example and something that's bright and shiny and just in great condition. But to find what they call survivors or unmolested cars, a car that's been sitting in a garage for 40 years and has never had anything done to it, it's got the original wheels, original paint, and the whole works, people will pay a major, major premium for that. And those cars are becoming less and less prominent because they're being restored. So that the percentage, they can never make those cars again from 1962 or 65 or what have you. So that they're becoming scarcer and scarcer as time goes on because people are restoring them. So I think from an investment standpoint and from a degree of what's going to be worth the most money down the road, I think it's the most original cars in great condition. Geographics play a big role in cars and value. Ironically, a lot of the Japanese cars, even from like the 80s and 90s, with low mileage and in original condition, are bringing just huge premiums today. And a lot of that has to do with them buying their cars back. They are going back to Japan, they're going back to Europe. The European market is very strong and very pronounced, or has a big place in the market, especially with the Porsches and the Ferraris. When it comes to buying and selling cars and trying to make a profit or a business out of it, I wouldn't recommend getting into it until you've done a lot of research and spent a lot of time watching values, watching auction prices realized to see what things are selling for. You know, the nice thing is there's a lot of cars being sold over just a regular period of time. So there's a lot of data and a lot of past track records to look at to see what these things are bringing. Once again, the most difficult thing with the whole car market and industry is the fact that the condition is everything and originality is everything. So if you don't know what you're looking at, if you can't tell a new engine from an old engine or a replaced fender, that's where the issue comes into play, that it could have a serious impact on the value of the car. The nice thing about pricing and values of cars in today's day and age is, you know, you can just jump on the internet, Google that car, and you'll see there's Auto Trader, there's Hemmings, there's all kind of past auction results. It's relatively easy to research a car to see what rough value or price range it should fall in. But the bottom line, I think, is you buy something that you know you're going to be happy with. I mean, I talked to a lot of collectors where they'll say, I paid $20,000 for this antique or collectible, and then they'll sell it 10 years later for $18,000. I'm like, oh, I lost $2,000. Well, what about the price of enjoyment you've had for the past 10 years? There's that factor of adding value to the piece or giving it value for the period of time that they've enjoyed it. You should buy what you like and buy what catches your eye and what you enjoy, because no matter what, at the end of the day, when it comes time to selling it, you can't lose because there was value in the appreciation and the enjoyment of that piece.